Sonic Unleashed. One game with two sides. The usual gameplay we know, and the start of the Boost Saga, and the beat-em-up brawler that nobody cared about. This adventure takes Sonic, Tails, and their new pal Chip on a world adventure as they try to solve an Earth-sized jigsaw puzzle. Any Sonic fan would tell you that, as the start of the Boost Saga, this is where the series turned Boost to win. And honestly, it does seem like that, doesn't it? Which is why I'm here to tell you that the quote is really freaking stupid. So for this challenge, I want to ask, how many boosts do you actually need to beat Sonic Unleashed? This is the Sonic Unleashed Low Boost Challenge. Starting with the rules, we obviously can't use the boost button. Anything that drains the ring energy in the bottom of the speed bar counts as a boost, so normal boosting and air boosting, or any other type of boosting is not allowed. Other than that, everything else is okay. So let's drop out of the sky and start the first stage. Starting in Windmill Aisle One, we get to see just how different the game feels without boosting every single half a second. Now with the homing attack being on the same button on boost, which is really stupid by the way, it's pretty easy to miss input when you're transitioning to land in air, but it really shouldn't be too bad when you get used to it. As for the level itself, it's a tutorial level, so it's pretty easy. Windmill Aisle 2 is the first real stage of the game, and it's also pretty easy and gets you prepped up for the rest of the challenge. Most shortcuts aren't accessible for us to use since we don't have enough speed or just flat out can't access them without boosting. But it's not too much of a worry in this stage since all the below paths are just a tad slower. Other than that, I have really nothing else to say, so that really does it for Windmill Aisle. Now this is the point where we would start playing as the Werehog, you know, what the title of the game is about. However, the Werehog doesn't even have a boost meter, so we won't really be talking about him at all much in this video. Next up on day stages, we have Missouri, Savannah, Citadel. This stage doesn't really have any difficult parts. The wall running part you'd think to have to boost on, but nope. You can literally press not a single button and you'll be perfectly fine. Now the ending climb up the tree is something I struggle with every playthrough since it's so easy to screw up and fall, even more so since I can't boost to skip some sections, but once it stopped being bad, the level is pretty much over. Now we come up to the first boss, the Egg Beetle. Now usually this boss is much too far away, and the only option is to boost up to him and get him to hit you. Without boosting, he kinda just sits in the back and you really can't do much to him. However, sometimes he will actually shift into 2D and start attacking from the background. After attacking for a little bit, he'll try to attack you, and then that's your moment that you can actually hurt him. Now, as much as I would love to spend 15 minutes waiting for him to shift into 2D, like a billion times, there's a much better way to fight this guy. Introducing our first glitch that we're going to be abusing, Quick Step Super Speed. Or is it called Super Speed Quick Step? I don't remember, but whatever. If you quick step and then immediately slide, Sonic will gain a burst of sudden speed. If you continue to do this, Sonic will rack up so much speed that we actually surpass the boost entirely. Now this does have a few limitations. Usually this is really hard to control, but due to the on-rails nature of the boss, this isn't an issue here. Another thing is that we aren't invincible, meaning getting hit cuts all of our speed. We also need a wall for this to be effective, and we also need the quick step to also be available, so we can't do this in 2D. Nevertheless, with the glitch, we can cut this boss down to 5 minutes and continue with our lives. Next up is Holowska. Getting the cool edge shouldn't be a problem. All we gotta do is run in the water and... Oh. Well, that's an issue. Yes, say hello to the worst enemy in the entire game. Water. Running on water has some strange properties that aren't seen on anything else. In order to run on water, you need your speed bar to be at least green. Anything lower than that, you'll sink like a rock. However, running on water also slows you down to a crawl, so the moment you touch any water, you will die. Usually the only way to keep a consistent speed on water is to boost, but yeah. Now this is probably where I would do a joke about not being able to progress, but last I checked, those weren't really funny anymore. So obviously we have a workaround for this. Get a running start to some water, and when you enter, start drifting. When drifting, you will preserve your speed, enough that the bar is in the green. This lets us have a workaround for getting past water. I know everyone trashes on drifting in this game because it's really, really bad. But I'm glad it works like this at least, so now we can pick up the Stomp Boots and enter Cool Edge. I'm gonna be honest, Cool Edge is probably the easiest stage in the entire game for this challenge. That's also factoring in that there's water in this stage. Half the level is just playing normally, and the other half is riding this bobsled that you can't even boost on, so, you know, probably the hardest part of the stage is this section when you're outside and you're running on water with these boosters, but once again, drifting just takes care of it, so there really isn't anything threatening this stage at all. Go ahead and ride the bobsled down to the goal and you're pretty much done. After grabbing the wall jump boots, Smogonia Rooftop Run is up next. This is a more advanced version of Windmill Aisle, but shouldn't cause too much trouble. The first thing to note is that this is the first level with a freefall section. Now, even though you don't use ring energy during a freefall, I went the safe route just in case and didn't really touch the X button at all. The main thing that makes this level very annoying, however, are the arrow chasers that appear near the middle and the end of the stage. Since we can't boost any enemies up to attack them, we're just stuck dodging them the entire time. Not that they're impossible to dodge or anything, I just thought it would be worth a mention. Just like Windmill Aisle, I don't really have anything else to say about this level. It's not really hard. With that done, it's time to go back to Chunun. Dragon Road turns out to be a... Oh. We have to get up to Dragon Road. Normally you're supposed to pick up an upgrade that allows you the use of the air boost, which replaces the homing attack dash when you have energy.
I don't think I need to tell you why we should never pick that up at all costs. Without it, getting up to that ledge seems impossible. At first glance. While it is possible to get up there with a normal boost, we can still get up there without a boost, and here's how. Climb this cliff and turn the camera to the 3 rainbow rings. Normally you need the light speed dash later in the game to get over there, but an air dash has the same amount of distance and can make it easily. On the platform, you can see in the distance a rainbow ring just to the side. If you get a good running start and delay your dash as much as you can actually just barely touch the ring and get set up to the platform. And it's not really that hard, it just takes a few tries. As I was saying before, Dragon Road turns out to be a major issue in the run. The beginning part is fine for the most part. However, it's when we enter the water section when things get problematic. Now sure, we can just drift over the water, but once we get to the end, there's a ramp that shoots us in the air and cuts all of our speed, enough so that we can't be on water anymore. The air dash doesn't help, and you can't get a running start off the rocks. You can't get enough speed off the ramp, and quick step super speed doesn't work because you can't slide in water, which I didn't even realize until now. There doesn't seem to be a way to do this part. In theory. Of course, if you've seen this game before, you're probably thinking what's up next for the list of tricks we can try. Indeed, I'm talking about the most broken glitch in this game, M-Speed. M-Speed is a glitch that allows Sonic to break his speed cap in a very unintended way. It's really difficult to pull off consistently, but here's how it works. With a max speed bar, if you lightly nudge the control stick to Sonic's normal walking speed, the game for whatever reason multiplies in speed to its insane amount. Sonic will gain a burst of speed almost like he's flying through the air. And you can maintain it by keeping the stick nudged and while at max speed and jumping and sliding. There's also D-Speed, but it's just the 2D version of it, so it's the same thing except you just hold left and right instead. One last thing I'll mention is the break jump glitch. This is a glitch what happens if you M-Speed during a dimensional transition, for example if you go through 3D to 2D. If this happens, Sonic's speed will be multiplied even further, letting him either skip most of a level, fall to his death, or worse, become faster than light itself. So how exactly can this help us? After all, I just said it requires a max speed bar, and we cannot boost so we can't get max speed at all. Well, boosting isn't the only way that we can max out our bar. So there are some boosters in this game that max our speed for us, and yes, you can perform M-Speed off of them as well. Luckily, there happens to be a pair of boosters at the point straight at this roadblock and gives us max speed at the same time. However, I've tried this so many times and I've only managed to trigger the M-Speed glitch once. So while it is theoretically possible, in practice it is just way too hard for me to do. So I'm gonna be honest, I decided to skip this for now and come back to it later. If there's some super awesome Sonic Unleashed speedrunner who wants to try and help me find how to do this, then that'd be awesome. As for the rest of the level, it's mostly bad platforming and the chase with an Inceptor at the end. You can just super step to the end and the level is done. Man, that really sucks, but you know, it's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Now we fight the Egg Devil Ray, but compared to the last boss, it's much easier due to the different phases he has. First they'll go into 2D, which is just free hits, a top-down mode, which is just also free hits, and then a normal 3D phase, which we can speed step over to him, and after 3 minutes, the boss goes down easy. In Shamar Arid Sands, there are a lot of obstacles in this level, but there isn't really anything that's really a threat. A lot of the 2D parts are very annoying, but everything in this level is possible. I don't have anything to say about this one, and it just happens. Levels can just be easy and straightforward. And now we have Empire City Skyscraper Scamper. This level is very cramped and has you prone to falling off and dying a lot. And some of these shortcuts do require you to boost, but most others you can just slide through. The Inceptor Chase and Arrow Chaser sections are the same, so just go in super speed past. And now we are at the building climb, but just like before, no boosting is necessary. And after all the enemies are down, the level is done. And now it is time for the last normal day level, Adabat Jungle. Oh, I don't have enough sun coins. Of course I don't have enough sun coins. Sega, why would you freaking do this? What? And now it's time for the last normal day level, Adabat Jungle Joyride. This level is pretty intimidating, but the first 3D and 2D sections aren't bad. But after our Arrow Chaser section, we run into our old foe, water. Now, while Dragon Road had a huge problem with water, which only has one section, which, now that you think about it, only has one section of water, Jungle Joyride has a ton of it everywhere in certain parts, but it never throws anything run-ending like slopes. You can indeed drift over the entire ocean, and everything will be fine. The second half of the level takes place on a cliff with no water, so we can elevate to the top and finish the level no problem. Now we have the last day stage boss, the Egg Lancer. This boss is also very easy. The first part is a free hit, and then we go to the wall running part, where if you jump or anything, you will die. But the only way to do damage to this part is to boost, so we just have to wait it out for the next part. Now we go to the quick time part, where hitting him will take out a third of his health, making this boss super simple. But when landing the last button press, Sonic will assume his boost aura for the attack. And while it doesn't drain our ring energy or anything, if this video just gets popular, there'll be that one guy in the comments going, a boost is a boost no matter if you didn't start it or something stupid like that. So I decided to waste the next 13 minutes of my life instead on this boss and fail the QTEs, just so I can kill him with normal attacks. Even then, this boss is super easy as long as you don't die during the raw running part. And with that, we only have one level left. That's right, it's time for Eggman Land. This level is a hybrid level with both Sonic and the Werehog. Of course I'll only be talking about the day parts, but if I'm being real, there actually isn't much to say. Part 1, take the top path with the rails. It's much safer, much shorter, and you can easily make it with a simple jump. Part 2 is a 2D section. The air dash helps a lot here because there are a lot of one-hit kills around. After that is a bobsled section. Only worry about the end since it breaks and faces you with a billion robots. Part 3 starts with another 2D section worse than the last, but it's not that bad. And once past the QTE rooms, we make it to the last skydiving section, and that's it. The rest of the level is for the Werehog, and after finishing that, it's So Long Gay Bowsering Eggman, and we come to the final boss, Dark Gaia. It's pretty simple. All we have to do is... wait. Oh no. As Light Gaia, we need to fly over to Dark Gaia in order to distract him for a bit. This isn't that bad, yet, as you can either block or break the rocks and quickly make it over to him. Quickly being the key word. But if you remember what this challenge is called for a minute, you soon realize that I have to spend even more time on this, and let me tell you, this boss is not fun at all. The first and second sections aren't too bad, but the third one is so bad. You need to keep moving ASAP and memorize his pattern to even have a chance to make it up to him with just barely enough HP. It is an absolute pain. Now comes the mini Sonic sections. Once again, the first and second ones aren't too bad and are really easy. The third one, however, can just screw off. There are many things that can hit you, and if you get hit even a single time, you die. However, if you get that perfect run, you have once again just barely enough time to hit the ramp and proceed to the final boss, Perfect Dark Gaia. As Supersonic, the goal is to break down the shield by defeating these mini dragon dudes. The only thing we can do as Super is the Supersonic boost. I think it might be possible to use like a single use of the boost on all of them, but the problem is that if you get hit during your current boost, you have to do your boost all over again. And you somewhat have a time limit before Dark Gaia dies, so I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even bother trying to lab this part. I was just so annoyed with this boss as it was. I'm sorry. As we land the last boostless blow, we can finally say that Sonic Unleashed is finally finished. So it only takes one boost to really beat this game, and it still might be possible to skip it if I was just better at the game. Once again, if anyone wants to try and skip this boost, please let me know. If you liked the video, let me know, and if you don't, what should I do to improve? This game is cool, and I hope that other Sonic game that's coming soon is going to be good too. Now, we aren't quite finished with this game yet, as there are extra levels and DLC levels I never went over. So if you want to see those as well, please let me know in the comments as well. For now, we're going to go to something a little bit more simple. So next time, we're going to look at the SD version of Sonic Unleashed, specifically the Wii and PS2 version. See you guys then.